Good morning to you. 7 minutes after 9 o'clock. This is the Mighty 1190 WIXE. Hope y'all are having a good Monday morning so far. Welcome back to reality, I guess. I hope some of y'all out there watch the show Airplane Repo. We certainly tell y'all to watch it, and some of you are friends with Facebook on Facebook with some of these folks, and Archie and I both talk about it. We enjoy the show. It's entertaining to say the least. And we've had Danny Thompson in with us before, and he's back with us today. First, you were sick the last time we scheduled this. What was wrong with you, man?
I sure was. I had one of them 24-hour little bugs jump a hold of me.
That lasted for 3 days.
It did.
So y'all are done now filming the season 3 wrapped up.
It's in the book.
Although the episodes are not aired,
correct.
Everything's done.
Yeah, we have done, we've already aired 9 out of 10. This Wednesday night will be 10.
How many in this season?
10.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, so this is our finale. Yes. This Wednesday night's the last one for the season 3.
And I know how y'all operate. You won't tell us anything about the next season until you're done wrapping it up.
You're correct, yeah.
That's how it works. Do you have a favorite episode so far of what we've seen?
I do, but I'd like to hear what his is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Really, truly, I enjoy every one. This coming Wednesday night is going to be a real good one.
Yeah.
It's got to do with fights. You know,
you've been scraping it up a little bit.
This year's been a little active out there.
Except for the time that you were on the bus and sitting through the makeout session.
I was something else in the stuff, you know what I mean? What some parts of it showing there.
Y'all could have scared the crap out of that kid. You know that? You could have just scared the
You could have run out of that sleeper?
Yeah, we could have run him.
We got a guest here on the phone with us too. Let's bring Ken Cage in. Ken is Danny is Ken's co-pilot here, and they're getting in so much trouble together. How you doing, Ken?
Great. How you guys doing?
Doing good, man.
Good, Ken. Good to hear from you. Do you have a favorite this season?
Danny knows there's 2 favorite parts that I like, and Danny knows what they are because I talk a lot. I like when I finally got to hit somebody.
Yeah, you did.
But Danny, when that was over, he was saying we were flying out of there. He's like, "You're going to like that one." So, and then you can see the give and take we had last week when I was trying to talk that girl into working for us.
Yeah,
get the guy off the boat.
Yeah.
So it was funny to hear Danny's responses and to hear him making fun of me, and then fans are getting on and saying, Ken has game, and Dan's like, oh, God, here we go. So,
what was kind of scaring me was if he wasn't going to get hurt, I thought, damn, Ken ain't going to look good in the dress now, you know. I hope she doesn't.
Hey, Ken, let me ask you, this is something I've been curious about, Ken, and this is the second time we've talked to you. The 3rd season of Airplane Repo is about to wrap up. I've been curious about this. Has this show made it more difficult for y'all to do your job? Because a lot of people tend to forget that the show's one thing, but this is actually what you do for a living. So I'm wondering if the show has made people say, oh, crap, I know who that is.
That's a good question. You guys getting recognized now?
We are. I'll say this, and then Danny can fill in more. I think it's easier for me, but yet more difficult for Danny. His part of it, because he's got more people that want to bow up to him and be tough guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can elaborate on that.
Well, yeah, it's very true. It's even hard to go to the grocery store sometimes, you know. But I take it as an honor, but it does take it hard. I mean, you know, they'll see me or see Ken, or if they see both of us together, they'll, oh, Lord, they're here for something.
Yeah, what are you here to get?
Yeah, that's right. Like, if I'm the guy that owes money on a helicopter and I see y'all pull up, I'm saying, oh, crap, I'm hiding, you know.
Hiding, yeah,
now,
exactly.
for people that aren't familiar with the show, and I don't know how that could be, but if you've been in a cave, the show's Airplane Repo, and Ken and Danny go around and they repossess, just like someone would the bank would repossess your car for not making the payments. But Ken and Danny go after the high-end stuff, the airplanes, the boats, the fancy cars, high dollar stuff.
Buses.
Very high dollar stuff.
But you know what always gets me is at the length these people will go to hide their stuff and keep moving the plane around to different airports and stuff. It just seems like a lot of trouble.
It seems like these people, some of them are, I'm sure, good people that screwed up and made a mistake. Other people, though, Ken, they're just scumbags. I mean, you can just tell that they shyster people for a living.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, the one that we were in North Carolina for a little bit of this one case, but it was the Robinson helicopter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that guy was actually, once he knew we were on to him, was filing phony flight plans.
Yeah.
So he'd be saying, I'm in Raleigh, and I'm flying to Wilson, North Carolina, but in reality, he's flying to West Virginia. So, just doing that kind of crazy stuff, which the FAA does not like.
No, I'm sure they don't.
Oh, gosh, no.
So, these guys, but then again, I talk about this making Danny's job more difficult because at this point, once he and I saw this was happening, he's like, I could see his wheels are starting to turn too. Like, this is going to be a little bit amped up. This is going to be more intense than usual because the guy is going to these extremes. So you saw how quick Danny jumped on this guy. I think Danny knew this was going to happen and was prepared for it because of the lengths this guy was going to.
Well, from doing what you do, Danny, I would imagine you got a pretty good sense when you meet somebody. You have a pretty good sense about how something's going to go before it ever happens. That's part of your job. You should know how things are going to go before it happens.
I get a good gut feeling about something, or just something just don't feel right. I basically about had that all my life.
Yeah.
Now that I'm into this job, into the bounty hunting and the bodyguard and working for Mr. Cage,
I'm curious.
I can fence something, when I go.
There was a pretty big guy on that boat.
He was a big boy.
Yeah, and I thought you might have to get into it, but no, when Ken started pulling out the undergarments and the guy's wife is knocking on the door, it kind of played out itself, didn't it?
It really did.
I tell you what, let's make a deal.
It was priceless.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask both of y'all. I'll ask you first, Ken, but since the show has started, and this may not even be one of the things that aired because you were doing this before the show ever started, but just personally, in doing this job, what's the most frightened you've ever been? Like, I know there has been a time where you're like, you know what, this could get really, really bad, and I'm wondering what that was for you.
It's funny because, and Danny can confirm this, when it's happening, you don't really think, you're just so intense. But honestly, there was an episode where we got a 58-foot Hatteras this year that they showed where I got cut by the ladder.
Oh, yeah.
Those guys chasing us because they were Cuban refugees, whether they were here legally or not. I'm thinking not, based on what we knew. They're chasing us in this speedboat. They're firing at us. I've got a gash in my head. It was it wasn't a deep wound, but it was bleeding pretty good. So these guys are coming at us. I see Danny's getting more intense, so that, of course, is like, oh, crap, this is serious now. Luckily, the Harbor Patrol got there in time, turned them away, but that was probably one of the scariest episodes, one of the scariest scenes I've ever been involved with, on or off camera, because, they were hell-bent on getting that boat from us.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me, I guess I could go, get a plane or whatever, but it's the confrontational part, and it's not the first time you've hidden on a boat or a bus. Just the factor of we're on this boat and we're looking for stuff, or here we are with the plane. We got to find the log books, and knowing you're about to get called. Here comes the guy, and Danny calling. Danny always calls you on the phone. Again, they're here, man. They're here. Here, he's coming back. He's coming back. I would just drive. It was too much stress for me, I think. Wow.
I love the little wild goose chase where you had them following you. Those other bounty hunters that were coming after the or repo men that were coming after the plane. Are those people that you've ran up with before, Ken, or were these folks that just happen to do what you do and you didn't even know them?
Well, you know what? We ended up finding out who they were. They were car repo guys that were trying to get into the high-end stuff.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because Danny and I are a little bit smart, alecky, and we enjoy that.
No, we never caught that.
Yeah, well, we have a good time with that together. So I'm like, yeah, look at them. They got the chains. They basically watched an episode of Miami Vice and tried to guess that's how you're supposed to act. But it was funny. The one thing nobody knows is, Danny, I'm going to dime you out here a little bit, brother, but Danny was sick as a dog that day. And yet, if it was me, I'd have been in a hospital getting an IV all day. He's sitting there, he's like, no, I'm fine. Food poisoning, and he's getting these guys, sending them out 100 miles off the trail. I'm like, all right. That's why Danny's Danny, because he does stuff the rest of us wouldn't even consider doing. And then I see the video on the show. I'm like, holy crap, he was really enjoying that. I'm glad he had some enjoyment that day. But
they're in between the little rest stops there.
What about you, Danny? Since you've been doing this, what's the most afraid you've been?
I'd have to say the same thing with Kim, was them people shooting at us in a boat. I mean, you have no protection, you know, even though land behind the back of the boat, well, you got fiberglass.
Yeah.
You know, that ain't going to stop no bullet.
Yeah.
You know, so that would have to say with Ken, that's probably one of the most scary ones.
Now, one of the interesting and frightening things we dealt with was one of the first ones internationally that Danny and I went on together. and that was in Jamaica. And I'm going to the FBO, and I'm having a nice, friendly conversation with the people. No problems. I come out, Danny's doing his surveillance, and Danny wasn't having as much fun as I was.
What happened?
I kind of get bored sometimes, you know. When I don't want to do my job, I get away from everybody, you know. So I go walking around this place. Now, we're in Jamaica. Can't nobody talk English to me. You know, I'm thinking, well, I'm going to get out here and walk around. So I go looking for the aircraft, walked around the corner of a building. When I do, I walked into 2 armed guards with AR-15s. Both of them pointed at me. I couldn't even say a word, really. I just started doing hand signals, you know, and tried to talk English to them and was pointing toward the office. And so that's where they marched me to, was toward the office. You know, I thought right then, I got to find something else to do.
Yeah.
If it's delivering newspapers.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Now, Ken, I saw some pictures of you guys with Mike Kennedy and his wife, but I get the impression, though, you're in different parts of the country. Your paths don't cross a whole lot, do they, during the filming?
No,
Not
actually,
so much,
really don't.
No. I mean, Mike's from Orlando, and my home office is in Orlando, so we know Mike a lot better, obviously. Mike's just a super nice guy. His wife's super nice. So they're really easy for us to get along with.
We're seeing more of her this season.
Correct.
Yeah, it's funny because he had always said they won't show Valerie, like she's so involved with what I do. So this year he finally, I guess he let them see one or two with how she's involved. Like that's good.
Mm-hmm.
So they did get her involved. I mean, which is great because she's got a whole different style than any of us can use. That's for sure. So
it's a great mix, and we like Kevin Lacey too. He kind of reminds me of Earnhardt with that mustache.
Yeah, he's more of the daredevil of all of them, I guess. You know.
Yeah.
Do you
to be able to get in a plane and not have but 5 minutes to look it over and you know, not knowing if it's airworthy or all you know is it's got some gas in it. We're going to go.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. I'm curious. We talked to you guys after the first season was over, and I remember at that time one of the big things we were talking about was trying to get people to go to the Discovery, to go to Facebook and all this stuff, and get them to bring the show back for a second season. Well, obviously that worked because they're about to wrap up the 3rd season. So, talks going on about the 4th, or anything either one of y'all can say about that?
Ken's not going to tell you anything.
Well,
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you that we're with Pilgrim Studios this year, so we have a new producer. Pilgrim does Fast and Loud, Street Outlaw, they all kinds of Orange County Choppers. They did. Pilgrim's huge.
Mm-hmm.
Pilgrim loves our show.
Okay, well that answers a lot for me.
Yeah, and the owner of the company, we were told, has not been involved in the production of a show since he was on Survivor back at the beginning. He's been involved with our production, so this is one of his favorite shows.
So the studio that now produces the show really likes the show?
Yeah, they love it. They absolutely love it.
They're really involved with everything we do on the show.
So if you were, for either one of y'all, now I'm guessing after both you guys have been involved in all 3 seasons of this, all right, now there's a new studio involved. So I'm wondering, does there come a point when the studio comes to maybe you guys or anybody else in the show and says, hey, what do y'all think? Is there a point where they come and say, you know, this is how y'all have been doing it, we're involved now, what do y'all think we could do to make it better? Has that conversation ever been had?
It has been made, and we did it before this season 3 even started. All of us, you know, met at Pilgrim Studio in Hollywood, and for a couple of days, and we just went over stuff. Basically with Ken, with all his repos, going over, trying to pick out the best ones that we want to do. Ken could probably answer a little bit more on that.
Yeah, I think the big thing for Danny and I mean, you guys have known us for a couple years now, and you know we're pretty straight shooters, and we don't like to fluff things up too much. So Danny and I were in there saying, you know, like we want this to look as real as it is. You know, and sometimes it tends to look a little bit more
staged or something?
Yeah, I mean, some of that stuff and the camera angles and this and that. I mean, we have to reenact stuff, so now it's the beginning of the show. We have to do this legally. Good. Now there's no questions. Of course, that opens us up to more criticism, but Danny and I were there, and he and I were both saying, you've got to show more of the investigations, because that's where the interesting things are.
Yeah.
So with that filing of the phony flight plans, that's something you would not have seen before, that aspect. And I think that's an interesting aspect. I mean, they show Danny, and everybody loves to see Danny just light people up, me included. But there's a lot more to what we do together, and so it's like Danny does a lot of the investigations. Well, now you're starting to see his role in that, and you're starting to see more how we work together as a team to find these things and to get them. And it's sometimes you're doing it one way, the hard way. Sometimes we're doing it the other way. And I think you're seeing more of that this year. That's what we really wanted to see.
Security guards of that helicopter escorting you off the premise. I just remember Danny saying, "Just don't touch me."
I've heard that 20 times.
Well, you bring up an interesting point, because in the first season, and even to an extent in the second season, the whole show kind of looked like a highlight show for high school football. It was like boom, boom, boom. They showed you the highlights, the beginning, a touch of the middle, and then the end.
Right.
And they tried to get a lot into an episode. And it did feel like in this season there was more of a story. You got to see more of the game instead of just a highlight reel.
Exactly. And that's what I like a lot.
Viewers need to understand, though, if you're in the woods hiding behind a tree, I mean, you still need a cameraman to shoot it. You're trying to depict how it went.
Yeah. And I've heard people say, yeah, that ain't real. Ain't no cameraman running through there. They'd see that cameraman. I'm like, no, they're do you not understand what reenactment means?
And a lot of times y'all tell them, come on, cameraman.
There was no cameraman there when it actually happened.
Well, but in some cases, I mean, let's face it, there are cameramen that are able to embed themselves in war scenes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's far easier than that. So, I mean, these guys can run with us with smaller cameras.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have the big cameras, but smaller cameras. And with all the chaos, it's more difficult for people to recognize or notice that. You know what I mean? They're so intense. I mean, when you see Danny coming at you, that's the first thing you're seeing. You're not seeing this little camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing oh, boy, here we go. You know what I mean? So,
and another thing is in some cases, it might take Ken, myself 2-3 weeks, even a month to solve just one case.
Yeah.
And then we got to take that 3 weeks or so down to 12 to 14 minutes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and that's
a lot of stuff people don't really get to see.
That's
got to
be
tough. We don't want to show them
tough.
all the boring stuff,
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see the excitement.
I just always find it, every time I watch it, I just always find it interesting that Daddy's from Matthews. So I see him in all these exotic places. I'm like, yeah, he's from Matthews. He feels as out of place as I was. You know what I mean? He's like walking around like, what the heck am I doing here? Yeah, I bet you met some weird people, too, because there are some weird people in the United States. There really are.
We've met, Danny, the folks, I think the bus episode was an episode where we met a lot of really strange people.
Yeah, that was one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And it was really funny because we got stuck. I mean, that was the only thing we could do. We heard the people coming on. We jumped in the bunks and hoped they didn't come on. I mean, Dan and I were both ready if they opened the curtain to
Boo!
But this guy was so... he was trying so hard to look smooth with this girl. And I'm telling you, he was awful.
Was he as cheesy in real life as they made him sound on the episode?
Oh, he
made
no
him
game.
sound great on the episode because
You felt sorry for him, Danny?
Oh, he had no game. He had no game.
The funniest part of that episode was Danny goes, "Hey man, there's a clipboard hanging right here on the window."
That's right. Everything we need to know is right here on the windshield.
Yeah.
The easiest stuff's
Was that
right
true?
there.
Was that really hanging right there?
It was
But
actually,
Danny, you fit right in with those guys.
Well, actually, I've been a rodeo once or twice.
Yeah.
Been to nightclubs over the years, so I actually fit in with them.
Yeah.
I just started talking on lingo, and they never know. They don't know.
I don't know if they shot it this way on purpose, both you guys, but watching the episode, this is what it looked like to start with. When they finally realized what was going on, and they were repossessing the bus, the first 30 seconds or so of that looked like you, Danny, were acting like you were trying to help stop the bus. Yeah. And I was thinking to myself, that's smart. If he's pretending to be one of them, hey, stop, and then jump on the bus.
You were still in character as a roadie.
Yeah, it was funny.
When the bus driver got there. And that's the other problem y'all've got. Neither one of y'all are pilots, so you got to have a guy ready. And Ken is always, man, you got to come right now. I need you now. You know, we're on the boat. Whatever, we need a captain. That's got to be tough having somebody ready. You know,
it is sometimes to know when you got to rely on somebody else, and everything's so tight on time schedule. You know, when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
Which, you know, luckily on the tour bus I could have drove it. You know, but a lot of stuff they didn't show through that tour bus was me moving the gates, and then all the roadies jumped on top of me. I had 4 roadies fight me at one time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it got a little good. I got my shirt tore, my badges tore off of me. You know, some of the stuff you just don't get to see. You know?
Well, they should have shown that.
I did.
He said I did.
Yeah, he had front
Those poor
row
guys
window.
didn't stand a chance. It was hilarious. You actually see, if you look closely for a split second, you'll see Danny just like a fly, just kind of swat him, and the guy goes flying. I got to see a lot of that, which was, for me, I'm like yelling at the guys, get away, just keep going, and I'm trying to, but I'm always laughing because I'm watching Danny do this stuff. I'm like, holy smokes, it was impressive to see. These guys tried to fight him for a little bit and then realized they were in over their heads.
It just seems like, you know, a lot of, like I said before, a lot of these people go to great lengths to prevent their stuff from being taken. I don't know. It just seems like by the time, you know, if I'm behind on my payments on the plane, whatever it is, and I see you and Danny, the jig's up.
I don't understand the whole.
What am I going to do? Hide the bus?
Yeah, I don't understand it either. I would be the one who would be like, you know, just come get it.
You got it. You know, just take it.
You know, but you know, some of them got real big
that.
egos.
I mean, they're not obviously going to show up on the show. There's a lot of them like that, and that's why, you know, everybody's always asking why about the pilots. It's like, I can't take a pilot to every repo because most repos, you know, like we don't need it moved right away. We don't have that urgency. The planes don't fly. I've spent a lot of money taking pilots out to repos.
Yeah.
Next to me, and the planes don't fly. So it's like I've got to pay them a full day and all their travel, and they're not doing anything.
Yeah.
So that's why we kind of have them on hold, and it's that logistical stuff. But people go to great lengths, and it's insane how far they'll go. And they're not ever trying to make the payment. In most cases, they're not trying to buy time so they can get to the bank. They're just trying to steal the thing. And that aggravates Danny and I both, and that's why we get more so long.
I don't mean to ask you a prying question, and I don't think I'm prying because they say this on the show. They'll always tell us what the value of the item was that you were trying to repossess, and then what the payday was for repossessing the item. So I've always been curious about this. What is the best repossession payday you've ever had, and did it make the show?
Well, y'all had one that was like $180,000 or something. What?
WIXE was 180, 190. There was one they showed that was a 300,000. Now, that's obviously a gross number.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, on a $300,000 payday, Danny has to get paid about $290.
Yeah, okay. I got you.
So that $290. And I have to pay for my own airfare.
Before taxes.
In one.
Pay for your meals, too.
And the thing about it is I have to wait till the end of the year. They always tell me, don't worry, Dan, we'll pay you at the end of the year. You're going to get a good check.
We'll settle up later.
Yeah, we're going to settle up.
You sure you and Archie ain't kin?
Ken, I don't know if it just seems like it. It seems like you and Danny go after the more of the high dollar stuff. Now I know Mike Kennedy gets in those Cessna citations sometimes, but yeah, you know, it's like Kevin Lacey would do it for free sometimes. I think you know he's done little crop dusting stuff and it's some stuff that really not a huge payday. Seems like you and Danny's paydays are bigger than the other guys.
Yeah, it does seem that way.
Well, I mean, I think the big thing is that, you know, my company, International Recovery Group, is a larger company. I mean, you know, we've done 2,000 repos in 9 years where, you know, if you've noticed, most of Kevin's repos on the show are in Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Look where we are. We're in California. We're in Florida. We're in North Carolina. We're in St. Croix. So we're an international company.
So do you have other?
He's done, I think he said 440 years.
So I'm assuming, Ken, that, you know, we see you and Danny, but, you know, you've got a big company. You got other people doing this too, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, the smaller ones, the easier ones.
Yeah.
You know, I've sent out other people, and I'm involved with every single investigation, every single repo.
Mm-hmm. But the ones that say
it's just on the phone or on the computers, I'm sending people out. It's like, this one's abandoned here, this one's dead in the water here. Go get this one. We went to repo a boat that sunk. So it's like, all right, well, I don't need to be there for a boat that's underwater. So, and it's funny too, because I tell people this all the time. I've asked Danny to go on a lot of repos with me, and his kind of first question is how dangerous might this be? I'm like, this would be a piece of cake. You know what? I'm really tied up. I don't think I can make that one. It's like, it's not enough excitement and danger and that kind of crazy stuff. He's not interested. So, but now we know, and it's a good thing. But we have a few other repo people. We've got a lot of pilots, a lot of captains. We've got office workers, and then obviously we sell all these things, which is something that's different than the other two guys as well.
Kennedy got into a scrape where he got played, and the plane, you know what I'm talking about, the plane had guns on it and stuff, and that was a dangerous situation.
Man, that'll make you draw up. I'm telling you right there.
That could have got into a hairy situation quick.
Yeah, that would, but you know, the right thing was done. Obviously, you call whoever you need to call and say, hey man, this airplane's full of guns. Knowing that the studio likes the show, Ken, and I know we can't come out and say what's going on as far as the fourth season goes, but if everybody likes the show as much as they say they do, I guess fans could keep their fingers crossed and have high hopes we'll get to see some more of it.
Well, Danny and I have a lot more stories to tell, so I would love to do more.
Yeah.
I think Danny's in the same boat.
Now, don't you get a big head and be moving from Matthews, move out to California somewhere, Danny.
No, bro, I'm at home.
We'll buy you mansion or something like that.
I'm at home.
What happened to Danny? He went Hollywood.
Yeah, what happened? Listen, Ken, we appreciate you taking the time, man, and talking with us today. We hope to talk to you again after a fourth season.
That sounds great. I'm available anytime, and thank you guys so much. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Ken.
We appreciate it a whole lot.
Danny, but before you go, I want to be glib about it, but I mean, have people noticed you and say, hey, how about doing a guest spot in my...
They do, and a lot of times I'll go somewhere, me and my wife, and I see people staring at me, which I'm used to that, kind of one of the different guys, and I encourage people to come up to me and shake their hands, or I'll take pictures or autographs. It's an honor to me.
Have you been asked to be on another show yet, like a little guest appearance?
That's what I say nothing yet.
Yeah, come on now. Just give us a hint.
I think you just did.
Just give us a hint.
Let's see what happens season 4.
Yeah. I see you wearing an Under Armour thing. You got endorsements already now? Is this?
Let's see what happens here.
You got the same endorsement that Cam Newton's got or something? No, I will ask you since he's off the phone now. I was curious. You obviously you wouldn't do this if there wasn't something at the end of it, which would be a payday. Is that initially why you got into this? Was it just lucrative? I mean, they said, hey, I can make a little money do it. Is that initially what got you into it?
Well, money drives everything.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. I'm a adrenaline junkie, so that's what I go for. I mean, there's no way I could sit in an office and do a computer work or anything like that. I'd go crazy and end up tearing something up or killing somebody.
But from your background, to get a call as intriguing as this job was, right. I mean, you probably just jumped all over it.
I did.
Here's a chance to do kind of what I've been doing, but with an added element.
Did he contact you, or did you contact him, or did y'all meet through some kind of mutual?
We met through Discovery Channel and through our first production company.
Okay.
And then they set up the meeting with me and Ken, and I went through an extensive interview with Ken, and passed the interview.
And then lost the man's car keys.
Oh, Lord, you had to bring that up, didn't you? I was about to get away from all that. Everybody about forgot about the key situations.
Yeah. Well, listen, man, we appreciate you coming, and we hope to talk to you again soon, and appreciate you taking the time.
I appreciate y'all having me. I'm supporting the local channel here.
I
thank y'all.
It's a lot of fun. We always enjoy it.
We appreciate it, Danny. Good to see you again, buddy.
Thank you,
sir. We'll have more of the Breakfast Club coming up. Y'all stick around. This is the Mighty 1190 WIXE. More coming up right after this.
As the weather is slowly cooling.